Imagine this. You're just, starting your day, maybe getting ready for work, taking your kid to school. Then suddenly your phone buzzes. Security alert.
Okay.
But it's not for a package or, some kid cutting across the lawn.
Right. The usual stuff. No.
What you see on your security feed is a military-style vehicle, huge, rolling into your driveway.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's jarring.
And before you can even really process what you're seeing, the feed just goes dark.
Goes dark.
Yeah, your cameras, your eyes on your own home, they're systematically shot out. You're left completely blind, totally bewildered, and frankly terrified.
That's not a movie scene. That actually happened.
That isn't some Hollywood thriller plot. Nope. It was the chilling, nightmarish reality for a Las Vegas homeowner named Kim Layson.
Kim Layson, okay.
Her story, it started on just a peaceful Wednesday morning, August 23rd, 2025, but it unravels really fast into this gripping, almost unbelievable story. Mistaken identity, huge property damage.
Just like a baffling search for justice afterwards.
Exactly, all facing what looks like a monumental and, easily avoidable official mistake.
That's a powerful way to put it. It's not just about like broken windows and doors, is it? It's about how fast your whole world, your sense of security can just crumble.
Absolutely. So today we're diving deep into Kim Layson's personal experience. We'll follow her journey from that totally ordinary August morning to finding her home completely, utterly destroyed. And this wasn't just some small mix-up. It felt like an invasion. It changed everything for her. A real before and after moment in her life.
Right. And our mission today, for you listening, especially if this story is new to you, is to really unpack every single twist and turn here. We'll look at the people involved, Kim, obviously, fighting for answers, the police department, even the mysterious previous owner who's somehow at the center of this huge mistake.
And we'll focus on the kind of surprising legal angles, but also the really deep human side of what happens when a police operation goes this wrong. Spectacularly wrong.
Yeah, we're talking about really shocking physical damage. A complete lack of accountability, it seems.
Baffling, right?
Totally baffling. And the bigger questions this whole thing raises about, official negligence, how much power the state has, and public transparency, or the lack of it.
So get ready. Kim Layson's story. It isn't just some unfortunate incident. It's like a mirror showing us how fragile our security really is.
And how thin that line can be between protection and, violation, especially when human error meets maybe unchecked authority.
Okay, let's really break down that moment of pure disbelief. Kim Layson's just going about her morning, right? Dropping her daughter at school. It's around 7:40 a.m.
Pretty normal start to the day.
Totally normal. Then her phone buzzes with that security notification. Usually, these things are pretty harmless. Delivery truck, maybe the mailman.
Yeah, nothing alarming.
But this one was different. Short, sharp. Someone is in my driveway. And what she sees next, it's not just unexpected, it's surreal.
Right, you hit it there. The ordinary morning suddenly crashes into the extraordinary. And what's so fascinating in a disturbing way is how her security is just instantly shattered. Even though she's not there, right? It's happening remotely through the very tech meant to protect her.
Exactly. She doesn't see a neighbor's car or a delivery van. She sees a SWAT truck.
A SWAT truck, not just a police car.
No, a full-on military-looking armored vehicle. And then almost right away, her cameras start getting shot at.
Shot at?
Yeah. One by one, they just go offline. She said she was, quote, completely logged out, just totally blind to what's happening at her own house.
Wow. Imagine that feeling, that helplessness, being cut off from your own home while all that is happening.
It's like something out of a movie, but it was real. And here's a detail, maybe a stroke of luck in all this devastation. It could have been much worse.
How so?
Well, Kim, her boyfriend Steve, and their daughter, they weren't home.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. And even their dog had an appointment somewhere else. So the house was completely empty. You have to stop and think about the what ifs, What if they had been home, sleeping, just waking up?
Or the dog was there when, police dogs might have come in later.
Exactly. The whole thing could have escalated so dangerously, lethally even, for innocent people, innocent pets.
That's a terrifying thought. So the empty house, while obviously awful for the property damage, probably prevented, physical harm.
Seems likely. But there was more confusion for Kim initially. She actually got a phone call from her security company.
Oh? While this was happening?
Yeah. They asked for a password, and she thought it was a scam. a phishing call or something.
Understandable, right? Who expects that?
Right. She didn't even know the password offhand, so she just dismissed it, which just added to her being completely in the dark, both literally with the cameras down and, figuratively about what was really going on.
So she's seen this happen, getting weird calls.
Mm.
It's just total chaos for her, even from a distance.
A perfect storm of chaos, yeah. Helplessness, confusion. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. Kim eventually heads back home. What she finds when she gets there, it's just beyond belief. Describe that scene for us. What did she see when she drove back onto her street?
Well, what she described finding was just shocking. Her whole neighborhood, she said, was completely filled with, police and SWAT teams and detectives.
Wow, the whole street.
Yeah, like a war zone had just descended on this quiet, suburban, southwest Las Vegas street. Just the sheer number of police cars, SWAT vehicles, personnel, it would have been incredibly intimidating.
I can only imagine. But the house itself, that must have been the truly heartbreaking part.
Oh, absolutely. The scene she described was one of complete devastation. And the specific damage, it really paints a picture of the sheer force they used. It seems way beyond what you'd think is reasonable for just, serving a warrant.
Tell us about that damage. What specifically did she find?
Okay, well, let's start with the most traumatic part. The garage. She said it was completely ripped out of her house.
Ripped out, like the whole thing.
Yeah. Imagine that. A huge structural part of your home just torn away.
Yeah.
Lying there on the driveway. And there was visible damage to the foundation, too.
How did they even do that?
Well, she mentioned seeing neighbors' footage later that suggested they used, a stick or something, that thing that was poking out of a tank, probably a battering ram or some kind of tool on the armored vehicle itself.
So just brute force.
Brute force. Not exactly a quiet entry. It was a brutal assault on the house itself.
And this is where it gets just so upsetting, the scale of it. It's not just property damage. It feels like an attack on her home, her sanctuary.
Absolutely. The front door, same thing, ripped out, just gone, leaving the house wide open.
And inside?
Inside was totally ransacked. That's the word she used. Everything pretty much flipped open. Drawers pulled out, dumped, closets emptied, beds dragged away from walls, doors jammed open, maybe even knocked off hinges.
They went through everything.
Everything. She said even little bins was knocked down. They didn't miss anything. Plants knocked over. Even, get this, filters from my oven they took out.
Oven filters? Why?
Who knows? But she said every single little pocket of my house was kind of exposed. TVs pulled from the walls, couches flipped or moved, beds dragged around. It just sounds like pure systematic destruction, not a careful search.
It sounds punitive, almost, like they were angry they didn't find who they were looking for.
It certainly reads that way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the inside. The outside walls had bullet damage.
From shooting the cameras.
Presumably.
Yeah.
All her cameras, motion detectors, everything that gave her that first horrifying look.
Yeah.
Completely destroyed, completely out of... She actually found these big bullets outside.
Real bullets.
Well, a detective later told her they were rubber bullets, used to shoot out the cameras. He even unbelievably showed her how the size fits into the holes in the wall.
He demonstrated it.
Yeah. And then, in this really bizarre twist, they let her keep one as a souvenir.
A souvenir of her home being invaded and destroyed. That's beyond words.
Astonishing, isn't it? And the financial hit from all of this, well, it's huge, as you'd expect. Kim figures it's left a massive dent in her finances.
How much are we talking?
The security systems alone, totally gone. That's nearly $3,000. And the repairs downstairs, the garage, the foundation damage, that's estimated around $21,000.
So well over $20,000 in damage.
Easily. For a mistake she had absolutely nothing to do with. And just picture that for a second if you're listening. Your home, your safe space, just violated and destroyed like that. Not by burglars, but by the police. It's a fundamental betrayal.
So Kim's standing there, right, amidst this absolute wreckage, trying to figure out what on earth just happened. And the detectives there, they initially didn't really tell me what had happened yet.
No explanation.
Not right away. They took her into their car, verified her ID, but still nothing. Imagine how disorienting that must have been. Treated almost like a suspect in the ruins of your own home.
Yeah, they immediately flag something, doesn't it? It really raises serious questions about the homework they did or, didn't do before launching this massive destructive raid.
Right. And then they start asking her these questions. Is she renting? How long has she lived there? When did she buy the house?
Okay, wait. These are questions they should have known before they showed up with the SWAT team, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the first huge clue that their whole reason for being there was just wrong, fundamentally flawed. They're trying to verify basic info after they've smashed the place up.
Unbelievable.
And then comes the absolute turning point, the big reveal. They ask her if she knows a specific person. They give her a last name.
And does she?
She says, no, but it sounds like the person that sold me the house like 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah. Then another detective shows her a picture, asks if she's connected to this guy, and her answer is just crystal clear. I've never seen him in my life.
Wow. So she knows the name only because he's the guy she bought the house from half a decade earlier.
Exactly. A ghost. Someone who hadn't been connected to that address for years. It's like a plot twist, but horrifyingly real.
And how did the police react when she dropped that bombshell?
Well, according to Kim, the detectives were pretty much like confused.
Confused. Yeah.
That was just kind of quiet after she made it totally clear. She was the owner. She'd lived there for 5 years, and the guy they wanted was long gone.
That silence speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does. She even emphasized, look, she got mail for him maybe for the first 2 months after she moved in. You know how that happens.
Sure, standard stuff.
But nothing, absolutely nothing, for the 4.5 years since then. That should have been a massive blinking red light for them, a huge failure in their intelligence gathering.
Failure they should have caught way before sending in a SWAT team.
You'd think so. But it took, get this, an hour and a half after she arrived at her destroyed home.
An hour and a half.
Well,
standing there in the wreckage.
yeah. Before another detective finally came over and sort of explained, he said, okay, this is what's happening. We're looking for someone who is a criminal who's been doing these bad things.
Okay.
And then he confirmed it. We thought he lived here, but acknowledged Kim had no connection with him. Finally, the admission. Wrong house. Wrong person. After all that time and all that destruction, hashtag tag 2.2, the admission, and the drones roll.
And during that raid, before Kim even got there, we learned the SWAT team didn't just break things. They also sent in a drone and police dogs, canine units.
And into the house.
Into the empty house, yeah. And Kim mentioned later how scared she was thinking about her own dog, if her dog had been home.
Oh, man.
She worried, it sounds pretty reasonable, that her pet could have been, like, attacked by your dog, meaning the police canines.
Which adds just another layer of potential danger, right? Another risk to this innocent family, their pet, all because of this massive mistake.
Exactly. A risk they didn't even know they were taking because they had the wrong house.
So after the admission, after they finally say, oops, wrong house, what happens?
Well, then comes this moment that just sounds completely surreal. A detective actually gave Kim what she called a little tour of my house.
A tour of the damage they caused.
Yeah. Walked her through the ruins, pointed out the ripped-out garage, the missing front door, mentioned minor damages upstairs, but most of them is downstairs in the foundation of the garage.
Like, he's a contractor assessing the job.
It sounds almost like that, doesn't it? A bizarrely clinical acknowledgement of the destruction while they're standing right in the middle of it.
Just imagine that for you listening. That slow, dawning horror, realizing your home, your private space, has been violated like this for someone who doesn't even live there, hasn't for years. The feeling of invasion, of injustice, it must have just been crushing.
Crushing is the right word, host. The violation, the destruction, and then this almost detached walkthrough by the people responsible, all based on information that was apparently 5 years out of date and easily checkable.
So, what does this all mean? How does a mistake this huge, this seemingly preventable happen and go unnoticed until the homeowner herself shows up and points it out? What does that say about the process?
Well, host Kim's case, it really shines a harsh light on what seems like a critical systemic vulnerability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It points to this this massive gap between easily accessible public information and the kind of intelligence gathering that happens before these really high-stakes police actions.
Right.
I mean, the takeaway here seems to be, in our digital age where you can find out who owns a property pretty easily, relying on old, unverified data isn't just sloppy. It's downright dangerous. It puts people's lives, their property, their basic rights at risk.
It turns a procedure that should involve basic checks into a potential disaster.
Exactly. This isn't just a small oversight. It feels like a breakdown in the whole process. It really makes you question how carefully due diligence is being done before they send in armored vehicles and SWAT teams. The fact that Kim, the homeowner, had to be the one to tell them they had the wrong guy after the raid, that's a serious indictment of the whole system leading up to it.
Okay, so after the initial shock, after the horrifying realization that the police raided the wrong house, there was actually a moment, maybe a brief one, of hope for Kim.
Hope, after all that.
Yeah. Remember that detective who gave her the bizarre tour of the damage?
Uh-huh, the one pointing out the ripped-out garage.
That same detective gave her a contact number. And he told her pretty clearly, she thought, you can call this number and they'll cover, everything for you.
Okay, they'll cover everything. That sounds promising.
Right. He specifically mentioned risk management and said she'll work with you about all these, damages and repairs.
So a direct instruction and an assurance. That must have been a huge relief for her, at least temporarily.
Definitely. Kim recalls thinking, okay, she didn't need to make a fuss about it right then and there because she genuinely believed they are going to take care of everything.
Which is a perfectly reasonable assumption, right? When someone in authority admits a mistake, basically, and gives you contact to fix it.
You'd think so. She trusted that assurance.
Yeah.
But that trust was about to be completely shattered. This nightmare had another twist coming.
Oh, no.
Even at the time, Kim noticed something a little off. She said the detective's response wasn't exactly a solid yes or no. It was more like, yeah, they'll work with you. They'll figure it out.
A bit vague.
Yeah. And she was apparently surprised that he didn't seem like he knew what the process was. That little bit of uncertainty, that ambiguity, it was kind of a red flag looking back, hinting at the bureaucratic runaround she was about to face.
Yeah, that vagueness. It almost sounds like he was just trying to smooth things over in the moment, maybe without really knowing if they would pay, or maybe deliberately obscuring the reality.
Yeah.
It definitely set the stage for more frustration.
And that frustration came fast and hard. Kim did exactly what she was told. She called risk management.
Okay.
She explained the whole thing, the raid, the wrong house, the massive damage. And she repeated what the detective told her, that risk management would handle all of these things. She expected, help.
And what did risk management say?
The response wasn't just unhelpful, it was a brick wall. The person on the phone immediately, flatly rejected her. Said, no, we don't cover any of that. We don't do repairs.
You just no, after the detective said they would.
Just no. Claimed, we don't handle any of that. A complete 180 from what the detective on the scene had told her just hours before.
That's infuriating. It's like passing the buck in the most blatant way possible.
Totally. And it's apparently a common tactic, right? Shunt the problem onto the citizen, make them deal with the fallout from the official mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Leave the homeowner holding the bag. So what did they suggest she do instead?
The representative told her to call your homeowner's insurance.
The insurance route.
Right. But Kim pushed back a bit. She said, look, that's not guaranteed to cover it either. She knew getting insurance to pay for damage caused by a police raid could be really tricky, might get denied, might jack up her rates.
Yeah, it's not a simple solution at all. It puts her in a really tough spot.
And then risk management made it official. They didn't just say no on the phone, they sent her an email.
Putting it in writing.
Yep. And they specifically pointed to a law, Nevada Revised Statute, NRS 179. They cited this law as the reason they wouldn't pay for the damages.
NRS 179. Okay, what's the significance of that particular statute?
Well, basically, NRS 179 gives police the legal right to use forced breakdown doors, damage property when they're executing a valid search warrant, and nobody answers. It's meant to stop suspects from, flushing drugs or destroying evidence.
Okay, but here's the key, right? A valid search warrant.
Exactly. That's the potential loophole Kim's lawyers would jump on. If the warrant itself was based on bad information, like the guy not living there for 5 years, was it actually valid for her house?
Right. An invalid warrant shouldn't give them permission to smash up an innocent person's home, statute or no statute.
You'd think. But citing the statute gives them cover. It puts the burden entirely on Kim to prove the warrant was invalid, which, as we'll see, is incredibly difficult. It's a legal shield for them.
And sadly, that story is just way too common across the country. Homeowners get stuck with the bill, fighting insurance companies, maybe having to sue the government, all for a mistake they didn't cause.
And her insurance situation just made it worse. She called them, and they were apparently pretty shook about the whole thing.
Not bad.
But they basically told her they aren't covering anything, or at least not yet. All they could do was file a claim and wait for the adjuster to kind of view it.
So limbo.
Total limbo. And last we heard from the source material, she hadn't heard anything back, so she's stuck. The police say, not our problem, talk to insurance, and the insurance says, we'll get back to you. Meanwhile, her house is wrecked.
And just to be absolutely clear here, from the start, the police have refused to pay for any of the damage. Period.
Did they ever apologize? Offer any real explanation for how they got it so wrong?
Nope. No real apology mentioned in the sources, and definitely no explanation offered for the colossal mistake. Just denial and deflection. It's a shocking lack of accountability.
Okay, so this whole mess obviously lands us right in the middle of some tricky legal territory. We found some insights from a local attorney, Niyama Ramani. He mentioned something that's kind of a hard truth for homeowners.
What's that?
Generally speaking, homeowners are often responsible for damage caused during SWAT raids or when police execute search warrants.
Wow. So even if they make a mistake, you might still be on the hook.
Often, yes, that's the baseline reality many people face. It's pretty harsh.
But Arani said Kim's case might be different.
Yes, he noted this case may be a bit different, specifically if the officers were negligent.
Negligent meaning.
Meaning they didn't do their homework, didn't surveil the property, knew or should have known that this individual hadn't been there for years.
Oh, okay. So it comes down to whether they mess up the investigation before the raid.
Exactly. The key legal question boils down to this. Did law enforcement actually have probable cause specifically linked to Kim's address? And did they conduct a sufficient investigation to back that up?
And probable cause isn't just a hunch, right? It needs actual facts suggesting a crime happened and evidence would be found there.
Precisely. For Kim's house, the entire probable cause depended on having reliable, current information linking their target to her specific address. If that link was 5 years old and easily disproven, well, that's where the negligence argument comes in.
So there's maybe a small window for accountability, but it all hangs on proving negligence, proving they didn't do their basic homework.
That seems to be the crux of it, a very big if.
Right.
Now let's talk about the search warrant itself. It was signed by a district court judge, Jacqueline Bluth, back on August 13th.
Okay.
And it listed Kim Layson's property plus 2 other addresses, all part of an ongoing human trafficking investigation by the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, LVMPD. Hashtag checked, #tab 4.2, the easily accessible truth public records.
Okay, but here's where this story just gets baffling and, frankly, infuriating. After the raid, after her house is destroyed, Kim Layson herself does some digging.
She looked into it herself.
Yeah, she checked public records. And guess what? She quickly found her own name listed right there as the owner.
So it was public information.
Total public. Her brother, who was her agent when she bought the place, confirmed it too. Her name was on the deed, the title, all the public records. This isn't some state secret. It's basic property info anyone can look up.
But wait, it gets even more damning, doesn't it? There was that independent review.
Oh yeah, this is incredible. The Civil Rights Lawyer YouTube channel, they do deep dives into these kinds of cases. They decided to check it out themselves.
And what did they find?
They found that in less than 3 minutes, just using the standard publicly available Clark County real estate and tax assessor websites, Kim Layson's name pops right up as the current owner since 2020. And the guy the police were looking for, he was listed too as the prior owner with a clear cutoff date of 2020.
Less than 3 minutes using public records.
Less than 3 minutes. It completely, utterly debunked any idea that the target had any current connection to Kim's house.
That is astounding. If a YouTuber can find that in 3 minutes, why couldn't the police department find it before launching a SWAT raid?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It raises profound concerns about the level of investigation or lack thereof that happened before they decided to smash down Kim's door. Was it just extreme carelessness? Did they rely on one bad tip and not bother to verify? For an operation this serious, you expect layers of checks. This looks like a fundamental failure.
A total breakdown in basic procedure.
It really undermines trust, doesn't it? Kim even asked the detectives directly, did the previous owner use her address for credit cards or anything recent? But she said they looked like they were kind of confused also. They couldn't figure out really what to tell me after that.
They had no explanation for why they were there.
None that made any sense based on readily available facts. Hashtag tag 4.3. The hidden details, sealed affidavits.
It's just incredible how easily this could have been avoided with a simple records check. But despite that glaring error, Kim faces another huge problem in trying to get justice.
What's that?
The affidavits. The documents the police give the judge detailing the probable cause, the reasons why they need the search warrant.
Yeah, the justification for the search.
Those are sealed.
Sealed, meaning Kim and her lawyers can't see them.
Exactly. They can't access whatever misrepresentations, lies, omissions, or false information was provided to the judge.
Wow. So the very evidence that explains why they raided her house is hidden from her.
Pretty much. And this is standard practice, often done to protect investigations or informants. But in wrong house cases like this, it becomes a massive roadblock.
How so?
Because, as we discussed, a key way to get compensation is to prove the search warrant itself was invalid for her address. To do that, you need to show that if accurate and complete information were provided to the judge, no reasonable judge would have signed off on that search warrant for Kim's place.
But how can you prove that if you can't see what information was given to the judge?
Exactly. It's a catch-22. They're basically fighting blind, denied the crucial evidence that could show the raid was based on flawed, negligent, or even false information.
So for you listening, picture that. You're trying to prove a mistake was made, but the proof of how the mistake happened is locked away by the same people who made the mistake.
Yeah.
It just feels fundamentally unfair.
It really highlights the imbalance of power, and this brings us back to that Nevada law, NRS 179, the one risk management cited.
Right, the one allowing damage for valid warrants.
The whole argument against Kim rests on that warrant being valid. But if the underlying information was wrong, easily disproven by public records, was it truly valid for her specific house? The sealing of the affidavit makes it incredibly hard for her to challenge that validity effectively. It's a powerful shield for the government, making accountability really tough to achieve.
So the system that's supposed to ensure justice also creates these huge hurdles when it makes a mistake, especially when that mistake involves law enforcement. It seems designed to protect the institution, even at the expense of the innocent citizen. That's deeply concerning.
Beyond the money, beyond the legal battles, there's the human cost here, which is immense. Kim Layson said, quite simply, her home now feels unsafe.
Feels unsafe. That phrase just hits hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary.
Exactly. What does that really do to a person? When your safe space is violated like that, not by criminals, but by the authorities who are supposed to protect you, how does that trauma linger?
Oh, it's way more than just feeling uneasy, host. It's a deep rupture of trust, a shattering of your fundamental sense of security. Imagine your home suddenly isn't a refuge anymore. It's a constant physical reminder of a violent intrusion.
Every little noise.
Every creak, every shadow, maybe every unexpected car pulling up outside. It could all trigger flashbacks. That feeling of personal safety, the right to just be undisturbed in your own home, that's been profoundly damaged for her. It's not something you just paint over when you fix the walls.
No.
It's a psychological weight. It can lead to things like chronic anxiety, trouble sleeping, being constantly on edge. Just this gnawing fear that, hey, if it happened once, maybe it could happen again. She has to live knowing her privacy was destroyed, her things tossed around by the state itself.
And the apology she got, it wasn't exactly comforting, was it?
Not at all. The sources say detectives offered a minimal, sorry this happened. But then, incredibly, they kind of minimized it, suggested it could have been worse.
How could it have been worse?
Well, implying, she could have been home and gotten hurt, or maybe her dog could have been attacked by the police canines.
Wait, so they're saying, be glad you weren't here to potentially get injured or see your dog attacked by us. That's the apology.
That's how it comes across. It's this bizarre reframing that almost blames her for not being there to face potentially worse consequences of their mistake. It's adding insult to injury.
And Kim's reaction was...
She recalls thinking, yeah, I could have died probably, which just shows the terror she felt, realizing the potential danger she narrowly avoided due to pure chance. She was just left there, she said, just sitting there, just thinking about, what the heck am I going to do, right? Utterly abandoned, emotionally and financially.
That emotional fallout, the fear, the anxiety, that's a direct result of this whole systemic failure. Her home isn't just damaged property, it's become like a symbol of this injustice she's trapped in. Hashtag tag 5.2, the system's failure and the power of the public.
And this experience, it really highlights a bigger issue, doesn't it? It's more than just inconvenience. It's a serious breach of trust in the institutions meant to protect our rights, our property.
Yeah, which brings us to the system's failure, and maybe, just maybe, the power of the public to force some kind of change. That civil rights lawyer channel pointed out something pretty bleak.
But was that?
That government agencies in these wrong house raid situations, they almost never do the right thing voluntarily.
Meaning they don't just step up and say, our bad, here's the money to fix it, and we'll change our procedures.
Rarely, if ever, apparently. They don't usually offer full compensation, admit major errors, or make real systemic changes unless they're pressured into it.
Right. And that's where public accountability comes in. The argument is, these are public servants. We pay their salaries. So the public needs to know when things like this happen.
It's not just about being outraged, is it?
No, it's about empowerment. Knowing about it lets citizens complain to their politicians, use their First Amendment rights to speak out, and maybe ultimately vote to replace officials who refuse to hold themselves or their departments accountable. It's about ensuring power answers to the people it serves.
And the YouTube channel specifically urged people to share Kim's story, share the footage, especially in Las Vegas.
Yet the idea being that if the story goes viral, if there's enough public pressure, it can back the city into a corner where they feel they have to do the right thing. Compensate Kim, yes, but also, crucially, fix the broken processes that led to this disaster in the first place.
So for you listening, this isn't just one person's horrible experience. It's a stark example of how system failures can hit anyone. And it highlights our collective responsibility maybe to demand better, to demand transparency, to demand real accountability.
It really does. When the official channels for getting justice seem blocked or deliberately obscure, public awareness and outcry can sometimes be the most powerful tool for change. It shines a light where institutions might prefer darkness.
So what does this all mean? Kim's story, it's more than just shocking. It's like holding up a mirror to the immense power we give institutions, how they gather information, and whether the checks and balances are truly working to protect us, or if they sometimes leave innocent people picking up the pieces after a catastrophic error. #tag outro. So we've walked through Kim Layson's incredible and honestly deeply disturbing story, from that terrifying alert on her phone to the absolute devastation of a SWAT raid hitting the completely wrong house. We've seen the damage, felt the emotional impact, and navigated the bureaucratic brick walls and legal mazes she faced just trying to get answers and compensation.
And her story, it's still ongoing. It leaves us with some really critical, unanswered questions that just hang in the air.
Like, number one, why didn't law enforcement do that basic public record check? The one that took a YouTuber less than 3 minutes. The one that would have shown clearly they had the wrong house before they caused all this destruction.
Right. That's the fundamental question. And then there's the mystery of the sealed affidavits. What exactly was presented to Judge Bluth to justify raiding Kim's home? What information or misinformation led to that warrant being signed? The fact that Kim can't see that justification is profoundly troubling.
And maybe the biggest question, how can any homeowner get justice when the very people responsible for the damage deny accountability? When they push the cost onto the victim, hide the details of their own potential mistakes? Where does that leave an ordinary citizen?
Kim Layson's experience really throws into sharp relief the huge challenges people face when they're harmed by government error, especially when the system seems set up to protect itself first.
This whole deep dive really forces us to think about the enormous power we grant law enforcement and the processes often hidden behind their actions. In this age of easy information access, what's the real responsibility of government agencies to verify, double-check, triple-check their targets before using overwhelming force?
Especially force that can literally shatter someone's life and home. The integrity of the whole system relies on that diligence, doesn't it?
So, beyond just lawsuits after the fact, what kind of safeguards should be in place? How do we ensure both public safety and protect individuals from devastating official mistakes, particularly when the details that could expose those mistakes are kept secret? What kind of society allows an innocent person to be financially ruined by a government error with no apology, no explanation?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Consider what this story means for your own understanding of civil liberties, property rights, the balance of power. When that basic right to feel safe in your own home is violated so drastically and getting accountability feels impossible, what does that do to the trust between citizens and the state?
It's a question that goes way beyond Las Vegas. It echoes everywhere power is used in the name of keeping us safe. Kim Layson's story should make us all pause, ask tougher questions, and demand a system that's truly accountable when it gets things this wrong.